Richard. How we doing?
Good, good. Yesterday was fun.
If they're a boy, they have two penises. That's how you can tell. So,
We're here where it all happens right now with Chris Shires, Bordertown Blades, and we're in his garage. This is where he builds all his knives. Thank you for having me.
yeah, no, thanks for coming. I love showing off my happy place. I mean, this is where the magic happens. I'm here any waking moment.
So what's the process when you're doing the knives?
It starts with steel. So either I cut the blade out with a plasma cutter by hand, or on certain blade styles, I have a local company laser cut the profile out. After that, I take care of everything. So I personally grind every knife, I heat treat every knife, I stabilize all my own wood handles, I make all the Kydex. I'm always trying to improve my product line, improve the products I put out, and improve my procedures. And it's crazy the amount of stuff I do in a little tiny space. Today, what I want to do is put together a knife for you, maybe a bear claw exclusive in the future. It's a beautiful hunting knife. We're going to do some ironwood and some burled maple together. I'd like to heat treat some stainless steel, so we'll follow the Knife Steel Nerds formula and be at 1970, and we're going to plate quench it, and then we're going to throw in liquid nitrogen and cryogenically process it like I do all of my stainless steels. We'll shape some handles, grind some blades, like let's do it all.
I need you to hit the thumbs up and subscribe. If you'll do that, YouTube will suggest our videos more, and more people will be able to see our content. Also, if you would, do a comment down below. Let me know if you'd like to see more videos like this, or if you have some ideas of other videos we could share with you. Go ahead and put that in the comments down below. That helps too. All right, let's take a look at making some blades.
Yeah, let's get in here.
All right.
So right here, we are going to put some liquid nitrogen. We've heat treated the blades. We've quenched them between aluminum plates. And now, this is a dewar that stores liquid nitrogen for me. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna pour this into the cooler, and it's gonna drop the temperature of these blades to about negative 320 degrees. And that continues the conversion process. So I clamp the blades when they go in here, and as long as the steel all hits that temperature, that conversion can work. So there isn't really with ABL a standard time you have to keep it in there. What I do is I just leave them in here until this all evaporates. And it's usually about an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, depends on the number of blades. And so you can see what it's doing now is it's off gassing. It's boiling the liquid nitrogen around the blade because they're so much hotter than the liquid nitrogen. Makes it harder, and I believe it increases the toughness of ABL. I do whatever I can to optimize my steel. And I like to run a higher Rockwell on this steel. So I try and keep my Rockwell between 61 and 63.5, which is pretty hard for a knife. When these come out, it'll take a few minutes for them to get warm enough for the water to condense and ice crystals to start to form. I love this part of the process. It's just cool, you know, like.
It is cool. Very cold and cool.
Once I clamp them, the only reason I ever unclamp the blades is to check the rock well before I temper the blade. Otherwise, my knives stay clamped from cryo all the way through the tempering process.
And that keeps them from warping.
Right. I have stacks and stacks of blades that are going to be ground after heat treat. The upside is my blades come out very, very straight. The downside is I go through mountains of sandpaper. So I'll go through a belt of blade, best way I can describe it. Usually 2 on a big kitchen knife, sometimes 3. And I have a bucket of water I use to keep the blades cool. So it's grind, dip, sure. And you know, as long as the belt is fairly new, it's gonna continue to cut and remove steel as opposed to heating it up, which is what we really want to avoid. Points line up, get a nice grind. Look for scratches, not too many. I like to put this. Give this a little bit of a round right there. Nice and thin. Clean this up. Clean this up. Size this up. We're going to be here, so we need something to go right here. Like, what we're going to do is we're just going to cut a little spacer here for our top section. Doesn't have to be close. We're going to glue this on here like so. Like that, it's set. So we just wait a few minutes and then we're gonna sand it. We're gonna cut some more pieces. We're gonna cut this in half. We're gonna put it together. So I think everybody should tell Richard this should be a Bear Claw exclusive.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah. Only found at Bear Claw Knife and Shear.
That's it.
Bordertown Blades.
So what we're going to do is we're actually going to book match this. So we're going to take these insides, make the insides our outsides, the outsides our insides. Anywhere that the cactus juice didn't fill a void, I'll show you a trick for doing that.
Very cool.
I don't worry about the thickness or how rough the outside is. We'll address that later. What I worry about are these lines on either side being perfect in line. So like, I can shift this around to line these up. And it's really important to me that those line up, because it's one of those spots where when I look at a knife, if those aren't in line, I will never, ever unsee it. And so that's where the fit and finish is so important. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna line these up. We're gonna put a liner in here. We'll get this thing set up. So I use a PVC liner material. I know a lot of people like G10. I can use the G10 liners. It's, again, this comes down to price points. The G10 is pretty expensive, and I don't need these for structure. So I view this as a place where I can put a very good looking material without it costing a fortune. I love this part. The only time I use these glues, I use a 2-part epoxy to actually put the knife together. But I really like being able to glue my liners on and work a handle fairly quickly. And the other thing that's really cool is I get to see how it's gonna look when it's all done. So we're gonna see some color come out on this. I just kind of make sure I got 100% coverage, and now we can really see, like, that's some gorgeous burl. God, I love burl. And then we got some ironwood up here with good color. I like having linear lines with the burl. It just matches up really nice. We put our liners on, and we will worry about lining everything up. I'll show you how I do that. And then we clamp this. If you said, hey, what's the #1 tool any knife maker should have? It is a ridiculous amount of clamps. This is a accelerator. So I put this on, and it's going to cause this glue to harden. We can actually see it starting to harden already. So as that accelerator evaporates, this glue will harden. And so we're gonna let this sit for a few minutes. We'll come back to it, and then we will get this knife ready for drilling, shaping, and assembly. So I drill using carbide bits that are slightly oversized. So this is an F bit. It's 0.257 because I use 1/4 inch, 0.250 lanyard tubes. So you can see there's not a lot of wiggle room.
Just enough.
Just enough, and it makes my life so much easier. So I just make sure I don't have any flash on here from the drill bit. Okay, should we run to lunch real quick?
Yeah, let's go.
The next day.
So Chris,
Richard,
it's another day.
another day.
We were gonna finish this up yesterday, and then we decided to goof off.
Right, basically.
Go play in the woods. So we went to the mountains.
We showed you the ocean side, so we got to show them the mountain side too, you know, and it was beautiful. So
It was beautiful. And let's show you all what we did yesterday in some of the mountains. Well, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that as much as we did. We had such a good time out there. What are we going to do today to finish up?
we're gonna finish that knife we started yesterday, where we cut those handles. We glued some ironwood on, so I've got it ready. We're gonna drill it, pre-shape it. We'll do some quick epoxy, and we're gonna take it through the process. We're gonna plasma cut a custom big ass cleaver I've got. Sorry, a big cleaver I've got to do. So yeah, we're tempering our blades right now. So I've been moving things in and out of the oven. And yeah, we're just gonna continue the process, I guess. We'll fidget around and see what we come up with.
All right, stick around, lots to come.
So this morning before you got here, I shaped this down, made sure our lines were lined up. Now we're gonna drill this out. So we're gonna drill here, we're gonna drill here, we're gonna ignore this hole. Anything I cut out by hand, I drill after heat treat. And what this does, this allows me to set my handle where I want it to be. So we've sanded the front. I love Blue Moon compound. I get this stuff from True Grit, and it just works really well. It's a Formax product. So we're gonna hit this. Shines it right up. And I love ironwood. It's just,
look at that.
Any wood where you get this kind of range of color, it's just gorgeous. You know, it's just amazing. Wow. We have just little bits that we're gonna clean all this stuff up. So I like to come in and I rough this whole area up. So do that side, hit this side, and then our final step. And this really gives a great spot for that epoxy to hold on to. So I use a 2-part epoxy. This time we're using a 5-minute epoxy so we can take this knife all the way through the process. Usually what I use is a slow cure epoxy. I like Blade Pro from, I think it's Systems West is what it is, or West Systems, something like that. This is the True Grit 5-minute epoxy. Works really well. I haven't had any problems with like crystallizing or epoxies coming apart or anything. So I give quite a bit on here. Put our pins in. It's good to be quick.
Yeah.
Blade's warm, so that's not going to hurt anything. Figure out which direction we want our mosaic pin to go. So we're going to clamp this again. The knife maker tool of the century. Lots and lots of clamps. We're gonna let this sit for a minute, and we're gonna go over and I'll show you how I've plasma cut my blades out. What we're going to do is we're going to profile all that discoloration off with sandpaper. We're going to make it end. Why not? This is my favorite stuff ever. So you get a little void, a little crack, anything, we can put this on and you can actually see it's like water. So this is a really thin super glue.
Yeah.
And it's great for sealing handles. Even the stabilized woods I'll use it on a little bit because a lot of times these burls have little voids, pits, spots. And then we hit it with the Star Bond accelerator. And just like that. And you can see it's just starting to melt together.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to have to deal with that brass stuck in the glue. like to give it a little rock. So I wanted this to start to round out. So when my fingers are here, I want it to feel good. We want to try and keep those pretty even, but we're going to end up rounding this edge. So as long as they're close, we're okay. I don't like sharp edges here. So I do what I can to round everything from about here up to here off. So we're gonna buzz that real light. I'm gonna get rid of this sharp edge. I'm gonna get rid of the scratches, and we're gonna round this out. We're gonna actually put the finish of the knife on. So everything from this point on, we're gonna be just doing cleanup right after this step. This is one of the most important parts of your knife. Try and get the back end of your knife even, clean, done. Okay, so we're getting a nice polish on here. It's looking really good. I see one void right here. There's a little spot. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna come back over to our little filler. But this is gonna fill that void up, because we just don't want a spot where, you know, blood or funk or anything can get in there. We can see that the wood fibers are actually absorbing that glue a little bit. This is our final step. This is our 600 grit. All right, so we're gonna give this a quick buff, kind of our final step before it gets laser engraved and we make a sheath for it. So we just nice and easy. Again, we just use this blue compound. We just made a knife. And I like little things like a round choil. I even try and round these off. Buff that a little more. Beautiful mosaic pins, ironwood, burled maple. Like, that's gorgeous. And I love that wood. I could look at that all day long. So go to bearclawknifeandshear.com and get yours today.
Actually, that's bcknife.com. bcknife.com. Don't forget a thumbs up. Subscribe. Yeah.
So the last step in our process, what we're going to do on this knife, is we're going to form our Kydex sheath. So we've got I've covered it in a couple layers of blue painter's tape to give me some space when I form it. We've got plastic getting warm in the oven so we can bend it. We're gonna put it in our press right here so that it clamps down and it like forms. And then after that, we will attach a belt loop similar to this. We'll have a Kydex sheath that can be carried left or right-handed, horizontal carry, small at the back, cross draw. You pretty much, the sky's the limit, just depending on how you undo 2 screws and assemble it. You just gotta wait for this to form up.
So it's a toaster oven, basically.
A toaster oven, yeah. I have
Cool.
I have a small toaster oven for Kydex. I have a big heat treating oven for my blades, and then behind us is my stabilizing area. So right here, this is my oven for drying woods. This is my stabilizing tank, and I have gallons and gallons and gallons of cactus juice resin. So we have different colors. We've got the natural. The most important thing is whenever anybody's stabilizing, you measure your wood, you weigh it when you're drying it. And what that's going to do is you have 0 moisture in there. So to stabilize right, you have to have be methodical with making sure your wood is dry, and then you have to be patient and waiting for your dyes to absorb and basically follow the protocols. If you rush it, the wood's not going to absorb as much dye as possible. And there should be a significant weight gain between a stabilized piece of wood and an unstabilized piece of wood. And if you do it right, the colors are going to be bright, the wood's going to be hard as a rock, really dense, and everybody's going to be really happy that their knife doesn't swell or shrink or come apart and anything like that. So let's get this Kydex sheath done. I'm going to come this way, pull this out, and make sure it's kind of the consistency of leather. But we're going to do a fold over. I put tape on the blade, and what that does is it gives us a space.
Yeah.
So that every time we put the blade in the sheath, hopefully we can minimize the scratching. And then we put the press on, put this in, kind of clamp that. Put our wedges on, and then we're gonna clamp this down real good. And then we just have to wait.
How long does it take to cool and harden?
A couple minutes. And there's a couple little tricks we can do. I like to put it in the freezer.
Yeah.
So that because the blade and the handle are absorbing the heat as well from this, it's not enough to affect anything because it's so short term. But by putting it in the freezer, it just cools everything down that much faster.
Yeah.
So, make sure I clamp it real good. Put these in a little bit farther. And I just hope everything came out lined up. On occasion, I've got to put and this is the nice thing. So as long as you haven't drilled your holes yet and done anything, we can put it back in there and reshape it.
Yeah.
Try again. Round 2.
Yeah. This is the thing when you're buying a knife from a knife maker, an individual knife maker. It's all custom made. I mean, it's all done by your hands.
Right. I try to do that, and I pride myself on doing so much of it. So now we got nice definition. So what we're going to end up doing is we're going to drill holes along here. I've got a little jig to help me out. We're going to cut some of this off, remove it, shape it, buff it, rivet it, and we should have a knife that will clip into a sheath. So we get our holes drilled, we put some rivets in here, and we're going to press them into place. Okay, so we put our rivets in. I'm going to take my knife out. And now is our do or die moments, I guess. estimate that like that seems like a good spot? Now we're starting to get a shape. It looks like a sheath a little bit here.
Nice.
Yeah, now
What do you do with a rough edge?
we're gonna sand that off. So just a couple little passes. You start getting that nice shine on there. Almost looks like I know what I'm doing when it comes to this stuff.
Just about.
Okay, let's see if a knife fits. Okay. Real nice. So we got it.
Nice.
Yeah. So this is the completed, assembled knife with sheath. Just desert ironwood, burled maple, mosaic pin, brass lanyard, brass pins, AEBL stainless steel, Kydex sheath. Can be versatilely carried, so left, right-handed, turn it 90 degrees. You got small of the back or cross draw. You pretty much do anything you want with this guy. And nice and locked in there. I mean, I think we got an astounding piece.
So that's what goes in to making one of these knives.
Absolutely.
Well, that's it then.
That's it. We've done it.
We made a knife.
We heat treated something.
We got to go out in the woods and play around. We
Saw a waterfall. We caught sharks.
caught sharks.
Saw
Went
my
and played
kids.
at the waterfall. Saw the kids.
I don't think we didn't check anything off the list. So I feel like we gave you bases.
Even made a Kydex sheet.
Even made a Kydex sheet.
Kydex is cool.
Very cool.
I hope you had fun.
I had a great time.
Good.
Thanks for showing me Blaine, Washington, Linden, and then all the it's Linden, right?
Oh yeah, Linden. Yeah, I forgot about the farmers market.
The farmers
parade.
market. The parade was cool. So we did a
timing.
lot of stuff. I tell you, it was and the weather is
Serendipitous.
oh, the weather's beautiful. The weather's beautiful. So we had a fantastic time here with Chris Shires at Bordertown Blades and family. I want to thank you and I want to thank your family for putting up with me all weekend, showing me what you do here at Bordertown Blades. Now we have Chris's knives in the store right now. You can find them on bcknife.com or come by the store. We're at 4706 North McKiff in Midland, Texas, right next to the Hobby Lobby in the Market Street. We're open 10 till 7 Monday through Saturday and Sunday noon till 5. So you can always give us a call as well at 432-253-3660. We're always there to help you out. And we are so proud to carry Bordertown Blades.
I'm so
At
glad
Bear
you do.
Claw.
Yeah, thank you.
That's great. That's another weekend. That's a wrap, I think. Make sure you like us, subscribe to our channel. That helps us out. And give me some suggestions down below on other knife makers, manufacturers that you'd like to see in our videos. We'd like to bring you something new just about every week. So until next time, see you then. Good. That's a wrap.
Good job.